Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to do the metagame breakdown for the best decks in Timeless Best of One. It's been a while since we kind of revisited the format. It was pretty stale the last I did it. The videos weren't really yielding much difference, but it's been a while. I thought we'd take a look, see where things are at with the format. We're going to get the data from UntapkedGG, what you see on the screen, companion tool that tracks user win rates, aggregates it into the stats we're looking at today. The link for Untapped, as well as all these deck lists featured today, can be found in the video description if you want to hop in and copy paste. But let's jump in, start looking at the popularity of the decks, and then we'll look at some deck lists themselves. So from Platinum to Mythic rank, popularity of the day, about 40% of the meta actually is made up of 5-color Reanimator. Looks to be a mix of Oops All Spells style decks, as well as kind of Reanimator decks that have things like Atraxa in it that dilute the colors, or Progenitus in the Oops All Spells category. We have 4-color Show and Tell at about 20%, Mardu Energy at about 17%, and then Boros Energy at about 16%. So pretty consolidated in terms of the win rate, but we do see a pretty stark increase of the kind of Oops All Spells decks or Reanimators jumping up in the last little bit. So we're going to look really quick, 17,000 games. We're going to look at the last 2 weeks, so about 12 days worth of data, May 10th through the 22nd, 17,000 games played. Mardu Energy is the highest win rate, 24 games, 83%. One thing to note, if you like these styles, if you have one crafted now, you can basically assign any, so you don't have to use multiple mythics on them in that case. But this version here, the black is basically going to be splashed for things like Cthulhian Nightmare, Marionette Apprentice, and Orcish Bowmaster. So kind of pseudo Reanimator style effect, lets you chain together. It's playing a more aristocrat style shell. What's actually interesting in this one is you're seeing Lunarch Veteran, not really a card you see too much in. We've seen things like in Historic Soul Warden get played in some iterations, but in a format with Bowmaster, it's interesting to see the Lunarch Veteran kind of make its way. You have Galvanic Discharge as kind of removal along with Static Prison, Regavans, just a lot of aggressive threats. You can kind of snowball quite easily. Bombardment and Johnny is a very strong combo that gets played in Modern as well. Just being able to flip and then start machine gunning down your opponent's board. Luris Companion in this particular variation as well. 18 lands seems a little light in terms of land count, especially with the fetches, but seems to be working at least in a smaller kind of sample size. Esper Frog at 78%. So this one here is basically a blue-black deck, mainly blue with splashes of white and black. The white's going to be splashed for removal in Prismatic Ending and Swords to Plowshare. Your black will give you access to both Orcish Bowmaster and Psychic Frog and a single copy of Cling to Dust. Otherwise, the deck's like a blue tempo-based deck. You have Brainstorm to help smooth out your draws, bunch of cheap interactions, Spell Pierce. Tamiyo gets flipped very easily and can start pressuring in terms of the ultimate to get you a bunch of cards. Refill your hand with Treasure Cruise, and then kind of cool interaction. You have Phantasmal Shieldback with Flare of Denial. So this replaces itself. It could block a Ragavan early or a lot of the early threats at an energy. And then it pitches to Flare of Denial as well for free. And then it replaces itself by doing so. When this dies, you get to draw a card, which is kind of sweet. And then another Luris Companion Shell. First of our 5-color piles is Oops All 5-color Belcher, Sorin, Alenda pile, as one does, 75%. So this is how many combos can you fit in your combo deck. You're not playing any lands because you're playing MDFCs, so let's play basically Goblin Charbelcher. So you can do your Belcher lines. Well, you're playing Dark Ritual, so you might as well play Sorin that can cheat out Alenda. So you have that line. And then you also have Baldur's Strayed Spy, which you cast, you target yourself. You have no lands in your deck, so you mill over your entire library. In the process, Creeping Chill gets milled. You start draining your opponent and gain 3 life. You get Prized Amalgam as well as Silver Smoke Ghoul. These come into play because you gain 3 life, which then triggers Prized Amalgam to come back. You mill over Progenitus, which shuffles back into your library, so you get effectively 2 draws. And then you could just reanimate Thassa's Oracle as another win condition once you mill out. So a lot of little lines here in terms of how you could win the game, which is kind of funny. Jack-o'-lantern, you exile the card, just adds mana, so it's a way to kind of filter your mana later on, I guess, since you don't have some of the colors in play. It lets you cast Thassa's Oracle if needed as well. You have Show and Tell, so 75% on this one. For the deck, Show and Tell into play Omniscience, which then lets you combo off. Waterlog Teaching helps you dig. You have Hullbreaker Horror Confine, so you can kind of win the fair game plan. You also have Fae of Wishes that lets you get a Wishboard package, which gets you Approach the Second Sun as another win condition. This version here is actually on an interesting one in Rakasha's Bargain. So basically it'd be 3 mana in this deck. You look at the top 4 cards, put 2 into your hand, 2 into your library. Just another way to kind of dig into your combo pieces once you get going. Chrome Mox can help accelerate you into the combo faster. Veil of Summer as some protection effects as well. Another Reanimator pile, this one's at 69%. So this is more true to tail being Reanimator. So it's basically a Dimir shell. You have things like Psychic Frog that can ditch you things. You can then Show and Tell into your threats. Overlord of the Baelmerk also lets you kind of mill over. And then you can Sorin Alenda, you can Sorin Olivia that can bring back some of your big threats as well through reanimation. So it's kind of cheating in fatties in different manners in terms of the deck. Simic Eldrazi, 68%. So the big card we got recently was Ugin Eye the Storm. 7 mana on cast trigger, you get to start exiling stuff, gains you life, starts ramping, and then every time you cast a colorless spell, exile some more. Cheat it out fast with Channel. You have access to Ugin's Labyrinth, where you can imprint a 7-drop and then kind of get that value. This is the Shift and Tell version, so you have access to Shifting Woodlands, which can also copy Omniscience. Then let you free cast stuff as well. Show and Tell lets you kind of cheat in Omniscience, so you can kind of bring in different big threats through different angles. One Ring lets you refill your hand. Malevolent Rumble lets you kind of dig into the combo, either filling your yard or helping you find key pieces. You have access to 4 Karn the Great Creators in Best of 1, which is very strong because it gets you things like Graveyard Hate, Activated Ability Hate. Karn just shuts off Belcher incidentally. Liquid Metal Coating can blow up stuff. 1 Ring for card advantage. God Pharaoh Statue for a tax effect. Platinum Angel against some decks is just I win. And then Cityscape Leveler to blow up stuff. We then have Rakdos Steelcutter, so 66%. So built around story Corey Steelcutter, card that's interested in you casting multiple spells per turn. When you cast 2 spells per turn, you get to create a monk that gets haste, so a very powerful kind of effect. And you're basically playing it in a shell with a bunch of discard. There's also a really cool new card in Swiftspear's Teaching. 1 mana cantrip that gives the next creature you control haste and prowess. Works really nice with something like Dreadhorde Arcanist because it can haste out right away. Same with the kind of Nethergoyf, is just another kind of haste big threat. Things like Bauble can trigger the Corey Steel right away, so you get some value there. 6 discard pieces, bunch of kind of cheap interaction to pair with it as well. Arena Glory, another way to kind of haste out your threats. And then lastly, we have Abzan Bright Glass, 64%. So it's kind of a toolboxy deck. Mainly green-white with black for things like Orcish Bowmaster, Juggernaut Peddler. You're using Birthing Ritual to kind of get you up in terms of the curve, almost like a Birthing Pod style strategy. Renegade Rallier on the sack would see the revolt, so you can then bring back one of your effects. You can dedicate a Doll Maker, kind of get blinks over and over again. Guide of Souls, Ossett's Pride kind of combo. So you got some energy elements. You have the dedicated Doll Maker blink package with Overlord of the Baelmerk. You can blink Solitude if it comes into play normally. Bright Glass Gearhulk can find you some 1-drops. Witch Enchanter is another powerful threat. Just blows up like Show and Tell, like Omniscience targets. But could technically, depending on if your opponent plays without the mana to activate, can blow up Belcher as well. So some utility in that. That's kind of a quick level overview. There's a lot of kind of just slightly different tweaks of these decks that are going around, but gives you a feel for what's happening in the format. Lots of broken stuff, lots of trying to win as quickly as possible through kind of cheating mana cost, cheating values, stuff of that nature. But let me know what you think of the format if you're still enjoying it, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.